Welcome, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers, James and Justin, back again with another reaction video. And this week we're taking a look at a few different religions. One we have not done yet is on Rastafarian. So this video is done by Step Back. It's called What is the Rastafarian Religion?
I feel like we did touch on it in another video. Like it might have been one of those like all the religions in one time videos or something.
Yeah. But we've never done like a specific one on this. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and let's dive in.
Hey folks, for years I have heard about the existence of Rastafari. Like many, I knew it was popular in Jamaica, had a special relationship with marijuana, and refers to something in Ethiopia. What I found was a simultaneously old and young religion that practices Christianity with a very different spin. As I said, Rastafari is a very young religion, as far as religions go. It traces its origin to Jamaica in the 1930s. They formed around the coronation of Haile Selassie I to Emperor of Ethiopia. They are at their core Christians, and saw Haile Selassie as the second coming. While adherents can go by the term Rastafarian, the term Rastafarianism is considered offensive. They have issue with any isms, really. It comes from the mix of Ras and Tafari. Ras being a title in Ethiopian nobility akin to being a duke, and Tafari being the name of Haile Selassie before his coronation. They believe him to be the 225th generation descendant of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Haile Selassie supposedly died in 1975, but Rastafarians believe he simply went into hiding in a secretive monastery, preparing to save the world. Much of the practice of Rastafari comes from a mix of Jamaican and Ethiopian cultural roots. The religion has many associations with Afrocentric and Pan-African movements. The church itself has a lineage going back to Ethiopian Christianity, and through them to the original Church of Alexandria, one of the first sects of Christianity. You might have heard of Coptic Christians. That's where it all comes from. Back in the 5th century, these Christians took their own path, very different from the Roman Empire's Christianity. They believe in God.
I was looking at that art there, and it kind of reminded me of some of that Orthodox art I was looking at when we were studying some of that and Catholicism. And that's interesting because normally when I think of the stereotype of Rastafarian, I don't think of that. It's not going on.
Rastafari.
Yeah.
They don't like Rastafarianism.
Nism. Yeah.
Right.
But
Did
I
you,
don't know
maybe
if
you didn't
I said
say
Rastafarian.
That's right. That's right.
But it's interesting because he said it's kind of like an old religion while at the same time a young religion, and I guess the oldness comes from the ancient part there. But fascinating, learning some stuff here.
God, whom they call Jah, and he is 3 in 1. They believe they made his son manifest in Jesus, and himself manifest in Haile Selassie. They do believe in much of the Bible, but that the years have corrupted its message. The life of Rastafarians involves abstaining from actions that they call Babylon. This includes materialism, oppression, and succumbing to pleasures of the senses. They see Ethiopia as the birthplace of mankind, and refer to it as Zion. Converting requires repatriation to Zion. Today, this can be physically moving to Ethiopia, or emotionally, spiritually communing with it. We should talk a little bit about the role of marijuana. They see cannabis as the leaf of the tree of life from the Bible. To them, using it is sacramental, and mentioned in the book of Revelation, referring to an herb that would heal nations. Pipes need to be dedicated to Haile Selassie before smoking. They believe cannabis burns corruption from the human heart. They call it ganja, and smoke it at special reasoning ceremonies.
Is that the main character, like the mascot of the channel, like as a
I don't
Rastafari?
Possibly. But the cannabis thing, that's interesting because we've examined a lot of religions, and I feel like this is the first time we've really come across one that was so upfront about we use a psychedelic drug to get in tune.
Yeah, and if somebody's watching this, because we cover so many different religions on here, one of our other religions sees this and is like, hey, we have a thing too.
Yeah.
Let us know, because that would be super interesting. This is the only religion I know of where it's openly involved.
Yeah.
As like a spiritual practice, which is something.
Yeah.
I think just the idea of taking a psychedelic and being reverent about it and taking it as a sacrament.
Yeah.
There's something to me that there's a reverence there that to me gives potential to something amazing happening. Now, I don't want to talk about psychedelics without mentioning a caution about it. I think you got to be cautious with these things. I think that you can be burned if you do it in the wrong way, or you don't have, you're not in the right space to be doing it, or your mental health maybe is at risk. I think that you ought to be careful, but to take it seriously and reverently, I think is a significant thing.
Yeah, it's wise for sure. Don't mess with stuff that's going to mess you up.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like they were looking at kind of like the mind expansion there, like the way that it deals with you emotionally and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Which we've covered other religions are like, stay away from it because you don't want that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Yeah, good point.
Being said, use is not required to practice Rastafari. Rastafari makes a big deal of avoiding sects and denomination. However, there are 3 major umbrellas that they call mansions. The prominent being the 12 tribes of Israel, Nyambingi, and Bobo Ashanti. As far as food goes, many are vegetarian, and some only keep from shellfish and pork. They believe that in the books of Leviticus and Numbers, that law requires followers grow dreadlocks. The length of one's dreadlocks shows their time spent as a Rastafarian, and is a measure of wisdom and age. Combs, scissors, and razors are inventions of Babylon and Rome, not good places in their eyes. Music is hugely important to the practice and popularity of the religion. They have special chants for their grounding ceremonies, and buru drumming. And we can't talk about Rastafari without mentioning its biggest international ambassador, Bob Marley. Much of the popularity of Rastafari comes from the international popularity of reggae music, and Bob Marley in particular. Many of his songs were about Rastafari and its way of life. People aren't sure how many Rastafarians there are in the world. They compose about 22,000 to 100,000 Jamaicans, or about 5% of their population. As I said, a lot of variation. There are also many communities in Botswana, Canada, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Japan, Madagascar, Malawi, South Africa, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Either way, I wanted to share this all with you guys. No other religion in my memory has such a gap between name recognition and even basic understanding of what it's about.
I think it's relevant at the end there, what he said about the gap between what people think and what's actually going on within Rasta, being a Rastafarian. Mm-hmm. It's probably just because of the demographic and where we live. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's a practicing Rastafarian. And I don't even know where you would go to see a church. But in Canada, which is a kind of a multicultural melting pot, I'm sure there's something in Toronto.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing. If there's something in there, if you are a Rastafarian and you're watching this, let us know some things that this video may not have mentioned.
Yes,
because it'd be
insightful.
Sure. Can you just walk into a Rastafarian church, like off the street? Are you allowed to just like show up and say, "Hey, what's this all about?"
Right. Yeah.
Or do you just does it have to be something that kind of gradually you build through a relationship?
How closely is it linked to Christianity? Is there like a belief in Jesus? Do you have to accept Christ like just somebody that would call themselves a Christian does?
Yeah, it sounded like in that video they were saying like the way to convert would be to like return to Ethiopia and like swear allegiance to being a Rastafarian, or by just doing that kind of in your heart almost.
Yeah, they're making a biopic about Bob Marley, and I wonder if they're going to get into all this stuff in more detail.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you liked our reaction on this video, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone, till next time,
Stay spiritual.